Hey everyone, just trying this camera. I've got the new webcam. Hopefully the audio is coming through all right by the looks of it, and seems to be working pretty good in this light, so I'm happy already. Yeah, everything is difficult at the moment in my life. It's been so I'm in shock. I can't even explain, and I can't talk about it here. But I can talk about, I guess, the effects of it all. But it essentially is like a massive, massive shock, and just so many different emotions, and because it's broken up into the different events, and then I guess that they talk about that stuff with trauma and situational, when there's lots of things going on, and then each thing becomes something, and then so for me it was all these feelings and emotions, and like combinate in combination, so it made it just very difficult to comprehend anything. But things are starting to get a little bit clearer now. I've got a little bit more information on what's happened. But one of the horrible things is I'm being left out of being told what's going on, and so my or just it's horrible, and but I have had some reassurance which has helped, but it doesn't take away any of the pain of what's just recently happened. And then so because it's such a big thing, like, and it's still happening now, and it's like I've just got to like, okay, so what I've done is in the last week, because this essentially happened last Saturday, and so it's a week and a day, and so I just went calm, slow everything down, and just I basically lay in bed all week. I couldn't really do anything, and I've hardly eaten. I only had like 2 or 3 beers a day, but maximum usually one beer, and then that's all I can drink. That's all I can drink these days. And yeah, it's horrible. I had basically quit smoking, and then I'm smoking again. So I mean, I can't get too angry at myself for that. And so yeah, I've got all these emotions, like just unknowing, worry, hurt, and then like these like oppressive things of like, I feel like there's been a massive injustice, and I'm really distraught over that situation. Like it's like I can't really talk about it too much, but it's like I've had everything taken from me in this, like, really quickly, and I have no idea what's even going on. And then yeah, so I've been stressing about all that, and then it really got to me towards the end of the week, and then I finally found out some more information that made me feel at least somewhat reassured, but then it also made things worse in a lot of ways. And it was basically the continuation of my situation. And so what do I do? How do I get past this, Well, I can't really get past this for a long time. This is going to be there for the rest of my life. I'm going to be thinking about all this. But I can somehow manage to continue on, because otherwise I'll just fall apart. So I haven't done anything too much. Just I've watched documentaries and podcasts, and that's it really. Just a week, nothing, and even that sparsely, just to sort of try and get through the time. And but I've got to catch up on my course, which is now I'm couple the lessons have completed, but there's lessons I missed. I've got to go back through, and then I've got to finish all the assignment. But I will ask for an extension, and that should be fine. And I've got to keep working on the business. I've only just I'm at this point where all this stuff's ready to go, and I'm needing to, I'm still working on the license for national parks, and because I have to put in all this extra information, which is fair enough. But I haven't been able to even think about that. It's just sat there for a week. So that's something I've got to do. I'll work on that maybe see if I can work on that tomorrow. And work on all the other stuff with the business. I've got to keep going down to the community gardens and working on the garden plot. It's going to be very painful for a lot of reasons, but I think I've just got to keep working there on it. I can't give up on that. Maybe it can give me hope. So that's it. Health, getting back into the healthy, even if I can't eat, I have barely eaten. I guess, exercising, working in the garden, doing stuff around the house will be one part of physical. I'm going for walks. I'll try and do that. And that's part of the business anyway. So I need to do it. And then, focus on the just calming and nervous system reset sort of stuff, because I'm very numb. Like these things that have happened have left me just completely numb. But it also, it's difficult. You get the flood of different emotions at different times. So, and these things, I can't rest until there's some form of resolution. But see, I can't focus. It's going to take a lot of work, and I can't let it consume me. I've got all these other things I've got to do, and I've got to focus on my health. And so I can only focus a certain amount of time to it, and that's that'll be happy. Although that'll be constructive, and that'll make me happy. I did notice Happy Hermits here. How you going, Happy? And NTV. NTV says sending you virtual hug and good vibes. You got this with the heart. Thank you. Happy Hermit says, is the family okay? At least. How are your dad and fiance doing well? Well, I think they're doing okay. But yeah, there's a lot of unfortunate things that have happened, and it's broken me. So what do I do? I can't fall apart. I can't give up. It's just going to be so difficult for me to get resolution from this, just because it's just so horrible what's happened. It's like I'm living in a horror movie nightmare, both at once. So what do I do? Keep focusing on those things I talked about. Keep a routine happening of something, and I've got so much I've got to do, like catch up on the business, and because I was unwell for like, it's been three weeks to a month now. I mean, I'm getting better, but it's still healing. But that's how bad it got. Like I was basically couldn't move for about 2 weeks until it started getting better, and then it was still painful. So I've been told it takes a long time to heal from that, and so all this stress is just not helping, So but yeah, I guess I've got to keep just. It's hard to be positive at the moment because everything's just been taken from me, and I'm still in shock. So, and in such a brutal way too, such an unjust, terrifying way, and then to be left in the dark. I'm just appreciative that I do have confirmation of, someone being, well, they're okay and safe, which is all I care about. So, well, I care about most, if you understand what I'm saying. I care about a lot more than that. That's my priority. And the fact that I know that, at least, it doesn't make anything else better. In fact, it's all worse. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't even talk about what's going on. This is how bad it is. my life, I keep saying my life's ruined, but people say no, it's not. And it's like, well, it's pretty bad at the moment, and I've got a lot of work to do just to find out what actually happened. I'm still just in shock and don't even know what's going on. So yeah, it's I've been, when you're in that state of shock, depression, fear, heartache, all those things happening, and yeah, all you can do is just lie in bed or something, and just you can't sleep most of the time, and then you get like 2 hours sleep, then you wake up, and then you just lay there again, and then may fall asleep again later for a couple of hours. And in those times, like I was saying, I was watching a couple of podcasts and um, just news things, just on the internet, on YouTube and stuff, and stuff that you could half pay attention to, but I was trying to listen to it and focus on it, and as a distraction, but then you could only focus so much because you can't think on that higher level where you're analyzing what you're hearing as you're hearing it, and you reduce down to just hearing what they're saying and just interpreting it without any sort of additional thoughts, because you just, but at least you can focus on something, and it can be that distraction. So it's cool. There's some people here tonight. How is everyone? I've got to look over to my side at the moment to look at anyone who types in the chat, because I got this new camera. I got it a couple of weeks ago, and so it sat there while I was sick. I couldn't do anything with it, and I'm only now finally got it hooked up. And this is going to be for my mindfulness business, to have good camera. So hopefully you'll see some cool stuff in the future and some nature videos and things like that. So we got yeah, we've had a few people in the stream tonight. Thank you all for being here while I'm talking about what excruciating pain I'm going through right now. And it's a really slow pain. It's so horrible. It's like just uncertainty and like frustration, a lot of frustration, because there's nothing I can do. I can't do anything. Surely there is stuff. I'm doing, that's what I said about researching options of what I can do. But I can only do it, 2 hours a day or something like that, because otherwise it'll consume me. I need to focus on all the other stuff as well. And thankfully, well, look, this is just, I can't. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I can't do anything anyway. And it's terrifying and frustrating. I've done nothing wrong. And yet this happens. I have been wronged. Like, this is a gross, horrible thing to have happened to me. And not just me, to other people. So it's obviously not meant just me. It's like it's very delicate and complex. And I'm really upset how I've been treated, or not even treated, in the last week and a day. The absence of any support. Well, I've had support. Yeah, I've had support from family. That's absolutely. It's been really amazing. But the support I'm talking about is specialist support that's given to people in shock like this. And clearly they choose who to give it to. Or it's not that sort of situation where they think that they need that. But I'm telling you, I really could have done with some specialist counselling this week, and I couldn't afford paying for it, so I'd have to call up. And I managed to get through without it. I just stayed calm. But I mean, it was too upsetting anyway. What do I say to a counsellor? All this stuff that's just happened, and then re-traumatize myself, get angry again, and upset, frustrated, humiliated. All the emotions that have gone on with it. It's really scary what's going on. Like, really, in reality, like, what's going on is just one of the worst things that could happen to someone or to a group of people. So continue on, find that balance. That's all I can do. Let's just do that. I want to do a test before I end the stream. I've got my guitar over there, and I want to see if this camera, if the audio comes through and it sounds normal. Because the old webcam, if I tried to play guitar or something on live, it would go through all these strange noise cancelling filters, and it would sound horrible. Like, it wouldn't sound like an instrument. You know, it'd sound like a banjo or something. It'd turn like a classical guitar into a banjo, and it's not music at that point. So you can't. So hopefully this camera captures audio and encodes it better without that stuff, which I'll find out in a little while. I'll play some, but I'll still have to go back through and listen to the recording to see. LKW's, how you going, Mama Bear? Mama Bear says hi, everyone. So yeah, continue on. That's all I can do. But this is the thing that really hurts in this situation. I was working through everything. And the number of times there was like unfairness or sort of, something akin to malfeasance. Like, I'm starting to get the picture of a possible scenario of what actually happened. And it's so hard because there's multiple potential things. And but what I was saying is that there was these moments along the way that involved like different groups or different people, and there seemed to be some unfairness with all of that, each in its own way, like each section of time or interaction. So that's why it's like a nightmare and a horror movie, because it just keeps going and keeps getting worse. I mean, I can be grateful that it's not as bad as it could be. So there's at least that, and that there's confirmation of the safety of someone that I care about deeply, that has been torn from me in the most horrible way, in a very unjust way. And I've basically, because I think there's been, I feel like I was lied to by authority professionals, but I can't really go into detail about anything, or manipulated, or it's hard to say. But I think there's what's gone on is an absolute it's unjust. I believe it's illegal what's gone on. I believe that crimes were committed in this situation, and human rights and civil liberties were ignored, and are still being so. And because what do? I can't do anything. So there's what happens when you're in a situation that's frustrating and futile. You either become a jellyfish, you know, or you push on and you just build back your strength. You just know every day is just going to be another day of pain, but you're just going to make your way through that and do a little bit. I'm very fortunate. Um, I can take things a little bit slow for a week or two, but I can't really. I've got so much I've got to catch up on. So, but even then, I've got to just do everything within my means, so build up a little bit each day. Don't try to do too much. But yeah. Yeah, my best says, sorry, mate. No, that's all right. I'm glad you're here. I've had the most horrible, horrible week and a bit. One of the worst things that could happen to anyone's happened to me. And I'm still in shock and don't know what to do. Except I've got a list of things to do. And so I do have that. But I don't know, I can't do anything about this situation. That's it. So that's what I was talking about just before. And I went off topic. And so it creates disillusionment, and depression, then that anhedonia or whatever it is, and so that I have no appetite. I can't, it's lucky that if I have a beer, I can only have one or two, and I just can't drink anymore. Otherwise, I'd be getting drunk all the time, and that would not be good. That would not be good for me at all. So I do have a plan to keep myself going and to try and make it through this very, very difficult time of uncertainty, loss, grief, pain, heartache, everything. It's like all the worst things. And on top of that, all the injustice and the way I was treated. It's like, I just can't believe that. I just can't believe it. But yeah, I'll be seeking help over this situation to see what I can do. It's such a, just, based on my experience from what's happened and what's happened since, is that I'm just basically being ignored. And that is just, it's really upsetting. Not just for me. Think about all the other people that get ignored in these situations. Just push to the side. Don't even speak to them. Don't update them with anything. You know, and and these services that should be their responsibility, is to look after everyone. I understand that they have limited resources, all that sort of stuff. But it's the silence is just deafening. It's just like, and no answers, and so it's keeping me stuck in this limbo. So all I can do is make a plan for the week. There's stuff I didn't put on there. I'll add another thing. So I didn't say work on the garden. And then also community garden. Yeah, so like I can got a lot there on the list, So if I can just manage a little bit of any of those things each day, it's going to be a good thing. Because it's, I've had that 1 week. I'm still in shock. I'll still be in shock tomorrow. It's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better. Every day is just going to be agony. Like I've had the things closest to me taken from me. In such a horrible, unjust way. So I'm trying to stay positive. That's what I'm trying to do. So I've made my list. Stay constructive. Be careful about becoming negative or cynical about things at the moment, because it can make me more upset because of the futility and the injustice. Keep working on attaining function again, like high function. Like doing something complex, and well, catch up on the course, work on the business, work on health, research options for how to actually get some resolution to what's happened to me and to those closest to me. Find a balance between all of these things, just a little bit of each thing. Then I've got continue on. Just remember that. I had some really sort of uneasy thoughts about just not being able to, and just being stuck, and then just going, my life just completely being ruined. And that's why when you think about that, you got to not let that happen. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep moving, continue on. So I have to. I've got no choice. I think I did the right thing of having it just while I was in shock, just trying to stay in bed and just still, and don't get too worked up about anything, because it then feeds into the situation, because it's so frustrating and hurting so much. And then so that it doesn't make anything better. And that's why like the podcast I was listening to, that some of them were pretty heavy, but even the ones that had sort of heavy concepts. They weren't like extreme or anything like that. So they were more like philosophical things. Yeah, and then the last things which I wrote down only a little while ago. Remember to work on the garden here, and then the community garden down where we got the plot. MJG's here. Awesome. MJG says, hi all. MJG says, Luke, you'll get through this bad period. You're sad, but you have the strength and mindset. You can do this. Thank you, MJG. I appreciate all the support from you and everyone else. But you've been really, really helpful and giving me that, helping me have that strength. So I thank you so much, because it's been a really difficult. Things just keep changing every day, and it's like how can it even get worse and worse? And it just does. But at least things are becoming somewhat clearer, and so I can function again as well. We'll see. It'll be a test. All of these things have got different. All these things I've got written down here have got different levels of, cognitive abilities that are required, different varying ones that are required to achieve these different things. So I could probably reflect. One thing, a big thing with mindfulness is that reflection. So when you go through something, you experience it, you become aware of it, and you feel it or experience it, and then afterwards you can reflect on it, or you can sort of understand what it is more. So I might have to mute or something. Did that mute? No, that just muted the speakers. Everyone will have to bear with me for a minute. Something important's come up. I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to put the headphones on. I'm actually in the live right now. No, that's all right. This is very important. Anytime you can contact me. I don't know what to do. Well, that's fine. How long before they have a place for you? Like a place that you can stay. Yeah. Just waiting to check in or something. Oh, so you packed up and you're waiting to go. It's horrible. I hope they don't do it again to you tomorrow or something. Why are they moving you every day? Maybe it's just the way it is at the moment. The first one was just the temporary or something. Oh. Yeah. Okay, you do that. All right. I love you. Bye. I'm back. That was the important phone call I had to take. I'm sorry. But that's what happens, hey. Rarely ever get phone calls, but when I do, often I have to take the call. So And it was good to actually speak to that person. So, given like how stressful everything is at the moment, every time I do get an interaction with someone that gives me a bit of hope, it helps so much. So yeah, I've got an idea of what I need to do to just, and just keep going, when it's hard to stay positive, but you can at least still have a certain amount of hope. And I think that's where doing these, sticking to like what you've got to be doing, because every day you get behind, it's just more difficult to catch up again. So I'll be working on that. Oh, awesome. We got some more people in the chat. Paige says, hey, everyone. Happy says, hey. So, yeah. I guess I'll have be as busy as I can a week. I'm still healing from these ear infections. It's like, this one's now blocked, and this one was blocked for months, and now this one's blocked after this. So, but at least the infection's gone down massively, like everything. So, I can finally do things physical. Like I'd get dizzy, and after a minute or two, I'd start sweating like with a fever, even when it's not hot. So I appreciate everyone who's been here tonight, just hearing me talk about this stuff. I thought I could do it in a really constructive way, and I think that's happened. Like focusing on what I can do and what I need to be doing, and by having that diverse list there of things I know, and this is specific to now, so I know that these are the things that I can do. Happy says, you and I both need to go to an ENT. My right ear is burning me too. Is that like ear nose specialist or technician or something? ENT, is that what that means? But I'm guessing it is that. Yeah, like it is to that point where it's like there's still something in there. And because the second set of eardrops were like really like waxy, so they've like filled up my ear. That's what it is. It's filled up with the eardrops that I got from the doctor. So I stopped taking them, but try and let it open up. But maybe I should just keep using them, and then after that, do something where they put in that solution to really clear out your ears. Like there's machines and that sort of thing. The pastor says it's not easy this time apart. It's so uncertain. There wasn't much, so they hold strong love. Thank you. Yeah, it's I just can't believe what's happened and how it happened. It's just all I can do is stay strong. I appreciate that comment. I really do. So And likewise, life is such a difficult thing. And it's things like this that sort of, you sort of expect it in sort of at any moment things could just become, fall apart or become bad, or something bad happens, like uncertain, and so you just go through life. But then this was just so extreme and so sudden, and all it wasn't. Yeah. But yeah, staying strong. I will do that. I will stay strong. Happy says, yeah, I use hydrogen peroxide, and they sell special syringes at the drug store that you fill with water and flush your ears. I use warm distilled water. Yeah, I should get some of those. And you can make your own saline water too, just with some uniodized salt and warm water. Because that's always good. I always, whenever I went to the ocean, it always cleaned out everything. And I haven't gone swimming in years, So, that's something that would probably be really good for me, is to go swimming in the ocean often as possible. But maybe that's something I need to do just during this difficult time. It could be a very sort of healing thing. I'll think about that. Doesn't cost much, just the fuel. I'll think about that. It might be really good for me. Pastor says, keep the cilantro growing. I will, or going. Yeah, I'm going to work on the community garden this week. I've got it on the list. And so I've got to pick all the grass that's grown up and all the weeds all around that area that's got the chicken wire mesh to keep the turkeys off. And then once I've taken all that stuff out, I might plant a few things and then rake all the mulch, the wood chip back over it. And so I'll make more of those turkey stoppers out of chicken wire too this time. Happy says, life never ends until it does. This is the journey. That's it is. Pastor says, poignant, hermit. So it is very poignant. That's life. It is a journey, and it goes until it stops. And that's all we need to know. Experience it while it's there. Be present and enjoy the journey. What it brings is there will be pain, but there will be joy. So just accept what happens. What is. But it doesn't mean there isn't ways to make things better. And so that can be another driving force, is to work things out. So Amber Moral says, that sucks. Ear issues are so all-encompassing. It's not like you can just tune out with painkillers. Exactly. So it was also a combination of being under high stress. So my whole immune system was just shattered. And so I was having migraines, and then I was having fevers, and then I had full myalgia, like all the muscles were aching and the joints were aching. And it's just like, made me feel for like understand what it's like for people with certain conditions where they do get that chronic pain, and it's just like it was I couldn't I had to just all I could do was have a bath and then get out of the bath, lay in bed for like half an hour, and then I'd have to get back in the bath again. And obviously that made it worse. And that was before I realized that it was the ear infection. So, but it did get really bad from when it kicked in. Like it was sitting there in the background for ages. And then it went real bad. And that's when that's when it was lucky I went to the doctors at the right, like it was a bit late. Like I should have gone maybe 4 days, 5 days earlier. It would have helped. Or, I don't know. Maybe a week earlier, I don't know. But yeah, it's horrible, hey, ear infections. So a friend of mine gave me a recipe for eardrops. It's got like olive oil, lavender, and tea tree oil, and you got to get the highest quality stuff of all of it, really. But like you can make it yourself, and it doesn't cost that much once you've got the ingredients. And you can just keep putting these drops in your ears every so often, and it'll just keep them clean and keep the infection away. And apparently, most infections go into the body through the ears. So yeah, catching flus and things like that. Yeah, happy says self-care is tough when you're down. I know for the next 2 weeks, when you wake up, force yourself to smile to yourself in the mirror. It's difficult starting off, but let me know how it goes. I will. I've got a mirror right next to the bed, and I've got a torch. I could do that. I'll try that, Happy. I used to do smiling, a mindfulness practice with smiling. I'd go into the bush and I'd be like really depressed, and I'd just force myself to smile, and I'd have to keep the smile for a minute or 2 minutes, and it would start sort of hurting a bit, and because you end up like really forcing the smile. But then after it gets to a point where you actually start smiling, so a real smile overrides the forced smile, and it's a pretty amazing thing. And you get this sensation when you do it. You're already out in nature amongst the trees and the birds and the wind and the sunlight, and like you suddenly realize you're in like heaven. Like you're surrounded by the most beautiful stuff, and you're smiling, and it's like I often, when I do it, I'd chuckle like that. I'd be sitting there smiling, and then I'd just start laughing because it's just like, this is awesome. So it really works. But I will try that method you mentioned, Happy. I've got a mirror and a torch. I could do that. So when I wake up, or in the morning, don't need a torch for that, Pastor says, hi, Amber. Hey, how's it going? Happy Hermit says, Happy says, I'm thankful for the pain I've been through, because without it, there would be no joy. I'm waiting for the joy right now. Yeah. That's a really good perspective to have with that, understanding it helps you rationalize the pain, and also it's like acceptance, you're not shunning it away, and then it doesn't, or you're not focusing on it in that way that makes it just grow bigger and more powerful. So it's by accepting it and allowing it to be, you can then focus on the fact that there will be joy afterwards, and it's not always the case, but it generally is. That life is like this thing that we go through these ups and downs, and we can't. Sometimes we get stuck in the downs for ages, but then we work our way back out of it, and then we can appreciate things much better after that. And that's a great thing. So one of the most painful things about complex trauma for me is that loss of joy, inability to feel happy, and that's why what I do is I do things that I know will make me happy. Going for a walk in the bush, watching the sunset, and it's very difficult to do that. That's the thing, when you're really depressed or whatever, having the energy to do the self-care is difficult. That's why having a whole list of things, and you can separate them into easy to do things, can be done at home, things can be done anywhere, and then things that require more effort and budget, or objects, tools, or materials, things. So you can just go, okay, I need to do something, and then you go, well, you look at your list, and then you go, oh, I'll just do that. And then after you do that, you go, I'll look at and see what else I can do. And then eventually you might get to going for that walk that might require getting in the vehicle and driving somewhere and I just hear people yelling out. There's the football grand final on tonight. People are watching it in their bedrooms or in their lounge rooms. You can hear people yelling. Someone's scoring points. So where are we? Maybe I can't move the computer much from where it is, unfortunately. So, yeah, how's the sound with this? And the videos. Has anyone noticed a better quality picture than normal? Does that look better? You can see all my freckles and my bald head. So this is the camera I'll be using for the mindfulness sessions when I do sessions with one-to-one over the internet. So I'm glad I've got it working. It's one more thing. So where are we? Amber says, hi Paige, I'm okay. Apparently the YouTube knows I have PTSD and recommended this video. That's awesome that the algorithm works like that, Amber. And this is a community of everyone's experienced it or is experiencing it, so, and that's what we talk about often, is what we can do. I talk about my life, what's happening in my life, how I'm going through this healing experience and doing it with what limited budget I have. And, as I learn things, I share or read a book or whatever and share, if I think it's worth reading, I'll promote it and say that this is worth getting out from your library or something, or buying, whatever. I want to get back to that too. I've got a whole bunch of books that I've obviously got sitting there, which I know are going to help a lot. So that will be something I should add that to the list. Read. So where are we? Are you sure, here? How you going? Are you? Awesome. And so Happy says, Yeah, even talking about it makes you smile. Yeah, smiling, exactly. It's making me smile right now, and I bet everyone here is too. Exactly, smile. I'm smiling again, and that's what I love. I I can start these live streams and be like so like depressed and frustrated and like, maybe in a triggered state or whatever, just, and then I'll start the stream and I just start smiling and laughing, and and then someone's there in the chat and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So it's amazing. Hey, like you can turn a frown upside down and make it a smile. There's lyrics to a song or something like that. So yeah. Paige says, don't lose your emotions, don't isolate. Laugh therapy and scream therapy hit the same chord sometimes. Yes, exactly. So I've done the scream therapy, definitely, and I've even got videos of it. So it's really good. Scream therapy is great, especially if you add like distorted guitar pedals and feedback and speakers and things. It like makes it really powerful. But like you don't need that. You just need to go somewhere where you can scream. And you can watch videos on how to do it. The main thing is don't hurt yourself. Like you can hurt you if you go too far. You got to practice and warm up and do all that stuff. So you can start off just by lower, not so loud, and build up to it. And then maybe I think a good thing would be to learn, warm up exercises is a big thing, and just how to look after your vocal cords, and then you can actually get right into it. And then, but then you can do it free form, just making noises and sounds and screams, or you can like learn about different methods, which could work, and they look it's pretty powerful stuff. And the laugh therapy is the same. I agree that they're all connected. Amber says, yep, even stepping outside for a minute, my PJs helps, especially when I'm low energy. Paige says, hi, are you? Basic Glitch says, hi, hello, almighty Luke. Awesome. Thanks, Basic Glitch, you're a legend. Long time no see. How are you and how are others? I hope all is good. Well, yeah, if you go back to the go back and watch the stream from the start, you'll hear me talk about things being very difficult at the moment. But I'm feeling a lot better having this conversation tonight here, being with you all. Very supportive people, and us, just sharing is really special. I'm glad to be back doing this. That ear infection knocked me around real bad. So Paige says, hi, Glitch. We're sitting in a complicated situation. Yes, very much so. Very much so. It's very difficult. But we're both strong people. So I know that we've got the resilience to continue on and also, have that hope for things to get better. Hey, Shaw says, hi, Paige. Paige says, sounds good with the happy emojis. Love you with the heart. Oh, thank you. Yeah, likewise. Basic says, I'm sorry to hear that. I probably can't, but could I help with something? At least holding fingers for you. Yeah, absolutely. And just having that hope and positive thoughts, is a really big thing, and that's probably the most important thing right now. It's just I'm really happy to have support around, and that's Dad's been really supportive, and also you know community here has been very supportive. So um, I'm lucky to have been able to reach out to a dear friend that's helped me stay calm through this time, because yeah, it's been very difficult. So I'm so glad to have been able to do this tonight. So yeah, and I've got to sort out this laptop thing, so I'm not looking up at the camera and then looking down. We've got some Japanese here. I can't read the kanji. I can't read the kanji, unfortunately. I could do the translate. It does look familiar. It's like a really main core kanji, but I can't. That's one thing, when I get once in a couple of months, I can see myself getting back to learning Japanese again, or some other language or something. Just at the moment, it's just I got so much on. Oh, Basic, you're a legend. Basic says, I can't express how much I respect you and all of you and your fight with difficulties. You're all awesome. You all are awesome, and I admire you. You'll get through it. Thank you, and thanks everyone. Thanks you back, because we're all awesome, aren't we? So, it says, please don't cry. Yes. Happy says, that was the Japanese. Naku. That's what it. Naku nai de. Naku nai de. Right. Yeah. That was a big thing. Is holding back tears for days. Just, I guess the shock is just more was just holding me in that state and so I think it worked out pretty well of just trying to just stay calm and just not move much and just stay in bed. I think that I needed to do that. And then it gave me the opportunity to go through that really difficult time. Now, the other thing you could do is just get straight busy and do things that are going to distract you. And sometimes you have no choice. If you have like strict obligations that you can't stop what that's doing, then you have to do it. And especially if it's something that's physical, where you can just move and do things, then you have to be focused on what you're doing, because if you don't, you make a mistake or you hurt yourself. So it forces you to. That can be good, but in this case, I think the best thing was just to lay low. I just keep thinking that's what I was doing. I was just like, even when I was lying in bed, that's what I was doing. I was like trying to let gravity like pull me into the bed further. So I was just like, I was allowing to just feel the full weight of gravity, and those things we often don't even do. It's amazing how in these really difficult times, you can be more present than you are generally. So, and I guess that's why things like mindfulness is such a powerful thing. It's just where we're able to be aware of the world around us and be aware of our feelings, feel the organs in our body, our food digesting, and the blood circulating around our body, and experiencing our thoughts and thinking about our thoughts as we're experiencing, and or the thoughts and the feelings and how they interact. And the more you actually practice these, it's not just focused attention. It's also focusing on it when you go that next level on top, but you don't do it in a way of. It's not like it's like the observer. It's like you become the observer, but then you're still participant, and but then you're not affecting. So it means you become even more present, not only in what you're experiencing or what's happening in your body. It's your thoughts as well, and then that makes when you can do that for prolonged periods without, and it doesn't wear you out because it becomes natural. um, it becomes very valuable because that's enables you to have very clear thoughts. And it's the same thing of like practicing conversation. If you're lucky enough to have a friend that you can chat with all the time and talk about interesting topics, and really develop a communication between the two of you or three, but it's usually having those conversations with just one other person. And each person, you might have a different communication style, but what you find is the good communicators that you have these amazing conversations with have these abilities that they've learned, just like musicians when they learn to jam and they learn how to play their instruments with each other in harmony, and to listen and then to play back, so the communication's working in a natural way. um, practicing those communication skills and getting better and better at it, it just becomes amazing. It enables these conversations that can just be amazing. And you can only really achieve that by developing a connection. Often if you have people who are really wanting to have a, a conversation, and if they don't know each other, there might be differences that they can't sort of resolve in a right way, and um, that can also work out too. And I've had these conversations often, or lots of times in my life, where you might start off and the other person's got a different way of communicating, conversing, and then over time, it's difficult at first, but then you both find this sort of middle ground and things just suddenly get better. And that's great when that happens. So yeah, again, that's it. That's and then often when you're having a good conversation, or when you're talking to someone who's really into having good conversations, is when you both get on the topic of communicating and having a conversation. And suddenly you realize that, yeah, it is this sort of additional skill, and not everyone gets to learn it, which is really sad. you know and you know I mean, conversational skills still get taught in places, and you can learn it. And there's people on doing their courses teaching you how to speak and confidence and all that stuff. And it's amazing how important it is. But but just having those human to human just chats, it's amazing when it can happen. And so my thing that we had on the list for working on the business and the additional stuff to the mindfulness is to do the interviews with people from the channel here, where they talk about the trauma that they've been through and in a constructive way, how they've overcome and had post-traumatic growth, what they've done to get through these difficult times. And to just hear what, everyone's individual story. And then I look forward to actually getting around to doing that now. So, I've been behind with everything, and all these things that were meant to be happening now, but I can't regret anything. I've just got to keep moving and keep things happening, continue on. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing as well. But that's not on the list here because I'm not even going to think about that for a few weeks because I have to work on the business and everything else. But there's a bunch of people who are interested in doing a podcast here and talking about and I'll organize it where I pre-record it and then put it together. And that'll be the opportunity for people here who are part of the channel here to share their story and their story of triumph over these difficulties. So that's hopefully in the next few months. I'm going to set up a different place to have the camera for the interviews and just use that place for the interview section. And yeah. Page says there's a development of connection. It goes before someone can say what they mean to someone else. That's how it is. Yes, I hear what you're saying. That is very powerful. Because it's like an energy and it builds up and it dissipates and it needs to be nurtured, and it's an amazing thing. So basically it says, oh yeah, I tried to do it with the guy I know, and I'm not a good communicator. So I really tried to talk to them. I would call it achievement. Some stuff happened, and now they think that I'm that kind of person who doesn't want to let go. However, for me, I made peace with it. I just wanted to learn to navigate and stuff. Yeah, that's good. And that's, I guess, the thing is too, is when you're having a serious, like a conversation with someone, it can either go all into different places, and like you can go back and go, wow, we started off talking about elephants and then we were talking about galaxies and then earthquakes and then, all this, who knows, and then or you can have these conversations where the topic keeps going and it almost becomes a debate because you're trying to get to a resolution of something. And sometimes if the other side isn't letting you know that they hear your point, they don't have to agree with it. But recognition of understanding the point really helps. Otherwise, I've been in that same state where I just want to keep continuing because I need to. I'm not getting them to let me know that they understand. They don't have to agree to it. And that's what I say to other people if they keep going through, and I say yes. And what you do is you explain back to them what you heard and how you interpreted what they said, or the concept. You can break it down and say, yeah, and this and that, and then you can say, I understand, and I still think that this would be better, or this is an alternative, or something like that. So you can always have differing opinion, but still let them know that you understand, and validating their point. And so, it's when it happens to you, you're like, why can't they just why can't they just? It's not, they don't have to accept it, but they have to let you know that they understand what it is. But if they leave you at a point where they seem like that they can't understand the concept, then you're stuck, because you feel like you didn't get a chance to explain properly, even though you break it down into the most easiest way to understand. And if it still doesn't work, that can be frustrating. But you still can't, in that situation, you can just go, oh well, can't do anything about it, and not get upset about it. Don't get angry at the person or anything like that, because it's just the nature of things. Sometimes things aren't going to be, understood. Sometimes people refuse to accept things as well, even unconsciously. It's like and that can be frustrating, because you're like, why can't they understand that? And it's like, well, there's a barrier there. And that barrier could be pride, it could be guilt, it could be shame, it could be envy, it could be anything. Any of these sort of emotions that could cause those sorts of unneeded, fear. We live in an environment where people are afraid to speak about things that they think are unjust or wrong in the world. So where are we? Amber says, sun's rising in Canada. Awesome. Sunrise is the best, isn't it? I love sunrise. Is the best time of day. I'm a big fan of sunsets, actually, but just more so because they're easier to get to, But I will venture. I'm going to get back to sunrises and sunsets. That was after my ears started getting better. That was one thing I kept saying to myself. I've got to get back to watching sunsets, the sunrises, or even just a bit of each. Where is it? Yeah, that's it. Amber says sun's rising in Canada, so I'm going to enjoy it as recommended by y'all. Thank you. Awesome. Oh, Amber, enjoy the sunrise in Canada. That's just going to be awesome. So you've made me smile that you're about to appreciate that special time of day. It's so special. It's magical. Basic says, person that doesn't want to let go, however, for me, I made peace with it. I just wanted to learn navigate and stuff. Yeah, exactly. It does take, because it takes time, And so, if you've developed a certain amount of conversational skills, because it's listening and it's learning how to know when to speak and talking in certain amount of time phrases. It's all about give and take and reciprocity and all that sort of stuff. And how to respond to the previous comment. And so it's really, if you're chatting with people in a good way, you can actually have the conversation go this way, and then every so often you can go, oh yeah, going back to that point earlier, I want to just add in that, this also, and then you can just keep doing that. And that's, having that skill is pretty good. But following the train of what you're particularly talking about, and not allowing to just keep jumping around unless you're wanting it to just go wherever. But then, so yeah, I just love it all. It's great. And yeah, talking is, I either don't say anything and I'm silent, or I just don't stop talking. So I enjoy both. Um, so it's good. Paige says, "Good morning, Amber. Catch today. Awesome with the heart." And she continues, "Making peace is resolution." That is, making peace is resolution. Basic says, "You're awesome. Thanks." With the big smiley face. Oh, that's awesome. Paige says, you can only can validate you. Be strong, be fair. Asking for understanding is fair. Hold your ground. Yeah, that's exactly it. I listened to a analysis video the other day of from Lord of the Rings. It was a YouTube video. If I could remember it, I'd put the link there or something. I should do that with that. But it was you could find it if you just do the search, and it was talking about the meeting of like Gandalf and the party and Aemma or Theoden. No, it was Aemma. And it was just after the Battle of Helm's Deep or something. And they go meet Saruman. And so I could find it in the book, but it was a really good analysis of the thing in relation to gaslighting and conversational control, domination, and all that sort of stuff. And it really explained how Gandalf really sort of was educating everyone, and some of the party were pretty clued in to how they actually do that. And that reminded me a lot when Paige said that, because it's like staying strong, hold your ground, know when not to speak, all this sort of stuff, because they were prepping themselves before they got to battery's going flat on my camera, so I'm going to have to probably end the stream sometime soon. I thought the battery stayed charged. Oh no, because it's not on USB-C. I'm using USB 2. All right, I've got to get a proper cable now. Jeez. But yeah, I've got a flashing thing saying battery's going flat. I've probably got a bit of time. Be interesting. We could just let it run till it goes flat. Anyway, this scene from the Two Towers, I expect. And yeah, I look forward to reading Lord of the Rings again, because I haven't for a long time. So I started reading the Silmarillion a little while ago and a couple of months ago, and then sort of stopped. Got right to the sort of where it's all starting to happen. You know, because they got the first 10 chapters is basically just explaining the genealogy, all the different people of the originals, and then before it really gets into tales. But yeah, anyway, back to Lord of the Rings. Yeah, so this video explained in a great detail just how wise Gandalf was, but how wise the other people were in protecting themselves against this wizard of words. Like Saruman is known for his ability to control and cast spells with words. He literally trained Wormtongue to go and be that character and sent him off. Anyway, I can't wait to read Lord of the Rings again after many years. In fact, that'll be like a really good escape to just go back through those books. So I'll mix that in with all the trauma therapy healing books that I read. So a bit of both. Basically, it says, "Oh my God, today is one of those high stress situation in home. And since I promised myself to not overwhelm people, I can't write to my friend to realize my pressure. Hope chatting with you is not at all. That's what this is about too. Like, people need to chat and talk about what stress they're going. I did that for almost the first hour myself, and so that's the big part of the therapy is being able to just talk about what's troubling. But it always helps if you can have some form of constructive way, even if it's like, how are you going to deal with it? So, if you've got this environment and it's at home today, what are your options? Do you go out and go for a walk and get away from that? Do you or do you talk about it like you're doing here? Both of those things can help. Avoiding getting stuck in that situation any further than what you have to deal with it is good, because then you're not getting stressed out by it. So I thought the battery would last a bit longer on this thing, but on this camera. I realized that it's not charging because it's not on the USB. I've got to watch some videos, read the manual, see, because it can be done. I don't know why it's not doing it, because it should just keep it charged. But it's probably, anyway, I don't need to talk about this. We'll get back to the chat, because this could go flat at any moment and just cut out. So yeah, Basic says cheating. Oh yeah, Silmarillion is awesome. It reminds me of EDA. I haven't read EDA. I don't know what series that is. Paige says, how do you move forward after feeling there is no destination? I suppose that's ungrounded by definition. I struggle. Yeah, that is difficult, but stay strong. Please, you're a strong person, and you do have a lot to focus on that you can be there for, and do that, and try and even in that situation, you already have a direction, but then in that, it doesn't always have to be straight away that you work on that. It's sometimes taking time to just read books for a few months, learn some new stuff that you can by reading, and some fiction books as well. Keep reading those fantasy novel series and things, and mix the two, so you're expanding your mind and relaxing, and then maybe getting back into the crafts as well, making things. Get a crochet needle and some wool, and make some things, and not worry about some direction yet, because there is things are still happening. So, and like me, focus on your health and how you can stay strong. Basic says EDA is basically Scandinavian mythology. There you go. Yes. And he was heavily inspired by that with a lot of it all. So absolutely. I will have to read all the Norse sagas and things like that eventually. I think maybe I'll go back through all the Tolkien stuff, and then I'll start with all the historical stuff that's been translated. I've got like Tolkien books that Tolkien has translated. I've got like Sir Gawain and the Green Knight and Beowulf and things like that. I just don't know where they're up on the shelf there somewhere. The Paige said good night, everyone. She said she's got to rest. Basic says, Page says, while the Eddas describe the celestial bodies and events within their cosmological narratives, these passages reflect how the Norse peoples perceive the sky. Interesting. They're very much about the North Star and all these sorts of things, aren't they? And they had the lights too. They had the Northern Lights, all these magical things, volcanoes and snow and ice and the fjords. It's pretty magical. Rather than an organized system of astrological divination comparable to the zodiac system. There you go. Basic Glitch says, ooh, cool. Good night, and I hope you'll get well. Thank you. Yeah, I'll end the stream in the next couple of minutes because the battery's this will go flat anytime. And I'm pretty happy with the quality of this camera. I didn't actually level it properly. I could have got it perfect. And it's got a zoom, so I can actually connect my phone to the camera, and I could sit here and zoom in and out and change all the settings on it, which is cool. I can't change the settings while I'm streaming, but yeah, it's cool. I can change it's a great camera. It's going to be perfect for the business. So Paige says